Welcome to More Than Dentistry, where your hosts Evert and Waldo discuss life, dentistry, and everything in between with dentists around the world.
Hello and welcome to the More Than Dentistry podcast. Dr. Wong, I'm such a privilege to talk to you. Thanks for taking time out of your schedule. I'm sure you're busy. Do you want to tell us about
what's your background?
Where did you start?
So, my background, I've been practicing for, I think this is my 32nd year. And, this was my second career. I was actually a research scientist when I first left school.
Okay.
And I didn't get the grades for dental school, but I ended up doing research and I worked with rats and mice and I didn't enjoy that. So I looked at a career change and, being Chinese background, I was born in Australia, but my parents are migrants. They wanted me to be a doctor or whatever. And, I just thought I was reasonably good at woodwork at school. So that's why I applied for dentistry. So,
I was asking because I got the only trophy I ever got at school was the woodwork trophy as well. And I presented a course the other day and I told the story and someone in the crowd said, that's the only trophy I also got at school. So you're the first good woodworker, or the third one that I've seen.
Well, I love woodwork. Woodwork's great fun. I love it. And, but I thought, look, I was going to be a hairdresser. That was the other option. So, but my parents did 4 years at uni. I did an honours degree and I thought, there's no way you're going to be a hairdresser. So I thought I'll choose dentistry. So that's how I stumbled into dentistry. So.
Yeah, it's not a bad place to fall into.
Yeah, so in Melbourne years ago, in Melbourne there was a guy called Jeff Knight. I don't know if you heard of Jeffrey Knight.
No.
Jeff Knight was really the father of resin bonding in Australia because Jeff would be in his mid-70s. He's still practicing, but he'd write articles. He'd write articles after article about resin bonding. I used to read all his articles. I subscribed to I bought all his. Those days we had videotapes. I bought all those, and I literally practiced according to Jeff. I didn't years ago. It's funny when I first graduated and I worked about 10 years. My accountant said, "You're a dentist, sir. You don't make much money." And I said, "Really?" Because I really didn't believe in cutting crap. So, I reinvented myself. I think in the mid-80s, we weren't allowed to advertise. I don't know, in South Africa. Were you practicing in the mid-80s yet?
No, I was born in the early 80s, so I've been practicing for, about 10 or 12 years. Okay.
So in the mid-80s, what happened, there was a local magazine and I put a before and after photo. I did a case of resin veneers and under the photos I wrote one visit, no pain, no drilling, what else did I say? Yeah, and a new smile in one visit. I received about 300 consultations in that first year. So really? What I used to book them in 5 or 6 on a Saturday morning. I didn't need an assistant. I'd mock up on them, and I found that for every 3 or 4 consultations I did, I'd have one patient booked in. So I started doing. And then I thought, geez, there's something in this. And then I used to get a lot of abuse from other dentists because advertising was so it was in the early days. And, what happened also, I think at the time, had you heard of Newton Fahl?
I've heard of him,
Newton's the guru in aesthetic composite in Brazil. So, at the time in the 80s, there was a program called Extreme Makeover from the US. And, the dentist was cutting preps, doing porcelain veneers, and it created a big industry in dentistry in Australia. So this is probably late 80s. There was a huge surge in cosmetic dentistry, largely to do with porcelain veneers. But I really didn't do many porcelain veneers because I just didn't believe in cutting teeth.
Okay.
So, I came across Newton. I did a program at LVI in Las Vegas Institute.
Okay.
That's where I learned my course in veneers practice where you took a patient there and you did the practice, you did the lectures, you did the preps. And then Newton ran a course there. And I met a couple of Kiwis on the course and I said, look, why don't we find Newton and do a course in Brazil together? And that's what we did. So I owe it to Newton. He's the one that really took that colour. And that was in 1990, I think. So, and I was,
and sorry, Newton was doing, he was doing the,
sorry, this
and he was doing the composite stuff.
And Newton ran he ran a hand in the late 90s. He did the first one in English in Brazil because he's Brazilian, but it was an incredible course and really his skills, were amazing. So I owe it to Newton to really to be where I am at this moment. So
but what you learned from him?
He taught me a lot about colour, hue and chroma, and it was on composite bonding.
Composite, not indirect, direct one.
Not indirect, no. And after that, in the early 2000s, I just got approached by Ivoclar Vivadent, and they came to the practice and they said, look, we heard you, someone's referred us to you and we heard you might want to teach for us. And I said, to be honest, I don't like public speaking. And I said, I'd be nervous as hell to give a talk, but I'd happy to do a workshop. So we started doing workshops of 10 dentists. And that was in, I think, 2004. So that's where it all started. So from 2000.
And you were doing hands-on kind of things then?
Yeah, we'd do the lecture, then we do hands-on, so over 2 days. So, and that's where it all started. So we're in our 16th year, so I'm still with Ivoclar. We still run courses every year. But now, look, so many dentists, there's good dentists out there. You have a look at your work, have a look at the work on Instagram. It's amazing what you're seeing now.
Yeah, there's amazing stuff. And especially I find that from Brazil is getting a lot of direct stuff that's amazing.
Yeah, the Brazil found
that as well.
Yeah, they're really talented. I think the Europeans, because you look at the American work out there, the Americans, you can tell they've got the bright white smile.
Exactly.
I don't know where South Africa fits in, but I know the Australians probably fall in a little bit. We're sort of midway between the US and Europeans. The Europeans are more aesthetic. Yeah. They don't like their fake white smile, whereas the Aussies, if you move further north, Queensland, they're probably more in line with the American smiles.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's very similar to South Africa. We've got a good mix of everything. I think we're more towards the European side than the American side. Yep. And I think the Brazilians as well. They're also not really big into the big white stuff.
Oh, that's right. Yep. Yeah.
And it seems to me like they're more into indirect or direct and indirect in Brazil.
Well,
I don't know why do you think that is?
I think cost would be a factor too, I think. That'd play a large part. But you see, look, there are, unfortunately as a dentist, if we're doing indirect work, we're looking at the skills of the ceramist, aren't we?
Exactly. Yeah.
And you do workshops, don't you, Evert?
I do, yeah. I've started this year with the first one. Actually, I only did my first one this year, and we were supposed to do another one now, but now it's kind of stopped with all the coronavirus stuff.
All right. And you look at the hand skills of your average general dentist, and you would go, there's no way you'd probably want to let them near your teeth.
Yeah, it's actually quite scary.
Yeah. So, but in terms of cost, I think it's, I did it purely because it was a cost issue. Minimal prep. You don't have to destroy the teeth. They're reversible. So that's the main reason. And I enjoy it. I love doing it. So.
And the cool thing about you is you've been doing it for a couple of years. So you can see the comebacks and what's going wrong. So can you maybe tell us about the complications if you get 5 or 10 years down the line? Yeah,
look, I think on the whole, I think if they're done well, they'll look really good. 5 to 10 years, they still look really good. Where they break down is really, I would say, if a dentist doesn't polish well interproximally, that's where you get your problems.
Okay.
Interproximal area stain. So we give the patients, you have to spend time. I mean, a lot of dentists don't, with all the discs that we have, a lot of dentists don't really use a lot of discs. They might use the coarse interproximal and that's it.
Yeah.
So you'll know over time you'll get staining wherever the dentist doesn't polish that restoration. Yeah. So I think that there's no excuse really. If the dentist can't polish that restoration, we really can't blame the patient, because the patient, you'll have good patients, you'll have horrible patients at self-cleaning, but I think the average patient cleans reasonably well. Flossing wasn't a big thing 10 years ago in Australia, but that's an accepted procedure now. So I would say that composites are excellent. Just the skills of the general dentist haven't really evolved that well with direct composites.
Yeah, that's why I kind of like it if guys when they start off, if you use a wax up from a lab, maybe a printed wax up, and then use that as a base to start off with. What do you think if you're starting off with composite and he has a big case?
Yeah, I just feel that I think you've got to do your own wax up to improve, because if you get a wax up case back, there's a saying that the hand can only perform what the eye has striven to understand, and really, essentially, if you do your own wax up, right?
Yeah.
You carve it with a Holland back. Is that correct?
I used to, and I kind of went to the digital route now. It's just way quicker, so I'm using Exocad.
But if you go back to the process, however, if you start carving that wax, what we're doing, we're actually doing the case, aren't we?
Yeah, you're getting the feeling for the case. You're training your hand.
That's right. Yeah. So I find that when you do it yourself, and when the patient is rebooked for that appointment, the procedure's a lot easier. But if you don't do a wax up, if you do that case cold, I find it's always difficult. So I always think that the dentist should do their own wax ups, just for that learning.
And in wax, not a digital. You do it in wax, and you get your hands trained for the case. And you know what to look out for when you're doing the work the second time.
That's right. Yep.
No, that makes
I'll only wax up. We'll only wax up a case if we're adding length. If I've got poorly aligned teeth and large diagonals, they're the only case I'll wax up. Because if teeth are straight and we're not lengthening, then you wouldn't need a wax up. But our technicians charge around 30 to 50. Well, they're charging about $20 per tooth for a wax up.
Really, that's quite a lot.
Yeah,
but your lab's quite expensive, eh?
Yeah, but I just think as a learning experience, I think you're better off to do your wax ups.
Yeah. Once I used to do it freehand from the beginning and just eyeball it. But once I started doing wax ups, I can just see the difference in my work. You can just see better line angles. The teeth, in the beginning were just straight white teeth, and now it's stuff that looks like teeth. You can see more natural lines and everything. And that's just the wax up. My lab guy used to tell me, stop doing what you're doing, get wax and start doing wax ups. And since I've started doing that, it's a completely different ballgame. So it's good advice for young guys to get some wax. It's a cheap thing, and you can play around over and over until you're happy with what you see.
Yeah. All right. So what made you get involved in direct bonding?
I think the same as you. We live in a place, I'm in the Eastern Cape, which is probably the poorest province in South Africa. So people can't afford fancy aesthetic work. And then I started playing around with composite, and the same reason, we don't have to cut any teeth, and I love building up stuff without breaking anything else down. And then I started when I did my father-in-law, he's also a dentist. He kind of had a lot of loss of vertical dimension, so we need to open his bite. And I said to him, let's do it all in composite, because I don't want to cut your teeth. You have quite a healthy teeth. So we did his whole mouth in composite. That was about 5 years ago. And 5 years later, he still hasn't had any issues. So it's a win-win situation. So I've been doing everything in composite now, and I do a lot of CEREC work as well, but only overlays and onlays for the posterior mostly. I hate anterior, and I want to talk to you about CEREC and anterior work, because I really think we're all cutting away a lot of teeth just to make the crown look good. So in the anterior region, I only use composite.
Yep. In the posteriors, I've been a CEREC. I had CEREC 3 Evert back in the old days.
Okay.
And that wasn't great, but what happened? I'm on my 6th practice, so at the previous practice I had the CEREC 3, and then I upgraded a year later to the 3D. But the new
CEREC 3 was the original one. Is that before the red cap?
No, that was the original one was the CEREC 1 and CEREC 2. They had the milling unit and the computer together. CEREC 2, I believe they had a circular saw with a diamond.
Okay.
When I had CEREC 3, they had I can't remember the name of the camera, but we had to powder the teeth.
But that was the red cam. That's the one we started off with.
So on the screen you saw a graph, is that right?
Yeah. No, the one I used was CEREC 3, but it was 3D already.
Okay.
I think you maybe used software before.
That's right. Yes. So you couldn't see the outcome at the beginning, but
okay.
But the same thing. On that same trip to Las Vegas, there was a dentist called Ron Jackson, and Ron gave us a lecture on how to treat largely broken down teeth. That was the topic, and he talked about onlays. And I'd never heard of onlays before. So after that trip, I came back to Australia. I did a lot of, I did indirect composite onlays.
Okay.
So, because my lab couldn't make porcelain onlays to fit. So there was a product called Symphony. Have you heard of that?
No, never.
That was made by SB, the German company. Essentially it's composite. And the technician buys it in a tube, but it's very, very flowable. So they would do the impression, pour it up, and they'd make the onlay in composite, but they also cure it. That's been around for, over 20 years. And I would have done about 500 units. And to this day, I've got about 6 of them in my own mouth for 20 years, and they haven't, and so I just think composite. That's why I always feel now composite is far superior than ceramics in terms of wear properties. So with my CEREC machine now, actually I now mainly restore with, you've heard of CeraSmart, the GC product?
Yeah.
That's what I use predominantly now, the hybrid.
So that's a hybrid block as well?
Yep. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I use the Tetric CAD, which is Tetric Inceram. I don't know what you guys call it. Tetric. So that's the one I use and prefer for all my cases.
Yeah.
Open a bite, I use the composite block.
Yeah, that's good. That's a Ivoclar product.
That's Ivoclar, because I use the Tetric Inceram direct composite as well. So it's exactly the same product.
Yep. Have you used do they have Empress Direct in South Africa?
I do. I use a lot of Empress Direct as well, but I try and get away from layering. The Empress Direct, you kind of have to layer. So I try and use single layers only, just to make it easier.
Right.
So if I do a layering case, and that's what I teach in my hands-on course as well. When I do layering, I use the Empress Direct. And when I use veneers, I try and do single, no layers, and then I use Tetric Inceram.
Okay, good. Yep. Good stuff.
And yourself, what materials do you use for the interior?
Yeah, probably my go-to would be Empress Direct, I'd say.
Okay.
Only because it's been around for years, and I used to use the other product, Four Seasons. That was before Empress Direct. So because I'm pretty loyal to Ivoclar, because they've looked after me from day one. So I still think they look good. Right. Most of the composites now are reasonably good.
What I like about Ivoclar is they kind of completed the full circle from all the materials you need and all the bonding agents and everything you need is spot on with Ivoclar, and that's why I use them as well.
Yeah. Evert, have you heard of a product have you seen my post, OVC, One Visit Crown?
I did, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about, because I've never heard about that until I saw you.
Okay, so that's a product, it started out in New Zealand. And have you heard of Triodent, the V3 ring?
Yeah, Triodent was big in South Africa.
Well, he's the inventor. Dr. McDonald, Simon McDonald's the inventor of OVC. So he sold Triodent for 65 million, I think, to Dentsply. And I don't think he needed the work, but he loves inventing things, and he invented the OVC. So he invented it I think it was about 8 years ago, and he's based he's an English dentist, but he lives in in New Zealand. So he's gone through a lot of changes. So now it's called OVC4. So but if you have a look at it, essentially, if you go onto his website, the company's called Rondium.
Yeah, I actually did the other day.
Yeah. And you'll have all the videos up there. You'll see the cases. Yeah. So he's now trying to, it's essentially a heat cured composite, and it's 73% zirconia filled. So it's just that imagine your overlay, the top 2 millimeters already made.
Yeah. So that's what it is. You get the pre-made crown. You've got a customized matrix band that you use to build up the rest, and then you cement the rest on. You place it on.
That's right.
And do you cement it with a dual cure cement or just flowable composite?
No, I usually it's like doing a direct composite. I do the etch bond and then layer of flow. If I need to build it up, I'll build up the base first. But the OVC has a sub-layer that's uncured, and you just literally press it down on the tooth.
Oh, so it's got a sub-layer that's uncured. Okay, that makes sense.
But, the uncured layer is the same as the top layer. It's just that it's uncured.
Okay. And
it's a good invention.
You get enough, and the bond, you can cure through that thing deep enough to make sure that you've bonded it properly.
You just got to make sure you've got a decent curing light, and we don't let the sublay be more than 3 or 4 millimeters. So.
Okay. Just cost-wise, how expensive are those crowns?
Well, in Australia, crowns can vary. Like we retail crowns for anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000. So our price, our crowns are 1,800. That's Australian dollars, which is about in Aussie dollars. So it's about 1,850, and we sell the OVC just under 1,000, 950.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why it's attractive. So that's why a lot of patients, if they quoted, but the only problem with the OVC is that, again, if you're a dentist with good hands, you'll find it easy, but if you struggle to fit the band on, you'll struggle. And dentists can get frustrated, obviously with some manual dexterity cases we have to do. But I think it's just another tool available for the general dentist. So.
Exactly, especially for a guy that doesn't have CEREC. Because if you have CEREC, you can mold those things with a composite block quickly. But if you don't, that's a nice option to have. Especially if you start opening bites and you need 2 or 3 millimeters to open the bite. Yeah. That's a nice result to finish with. I'm going to try and see if I can get my hands on it.
I'll send you a case. My very first case, when it was first sold, it was sold as an indirect kit. So when it was invented, most of the New Zealand dentists were doing it. They were doing an impression. They were making them on a model and then inserting them as a separate visit. And then a few years down the track, he developed the band. But now if you look in the videos now, he's now trying to get away from the band. So he's got this special wedge which you insert, and you literally just have to place the OVC on top of the tooth prep without a band. So that's what he's trying to encourage us to do now.
Okay. So he's not part of any big company, Dentsply or anything. He's on his own.
He's on his own now. That's right. Yeah.
I'm going to try and see if I can get those stuff imported. I'm sure no one is doing it at the moment. So see if I can get them in.
You also do Invisalign, don't you?
I don't do it myself. My partner does all the Invisalign, so I refer to him. But we do,
Yeah. Do you do full fixed ortho?
Yeah, my partner does all the ortho. So I refer all the ortho cases to him, and then I do all the implants and the composite stuff. Yeah.
Because I know fast braces is available in South Africa now.
Yeah. I've seen that around there. Yeah. You do fast braces as well?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So in your practice, do you see a lot of rehab big cases? Do you move teeth around and then do the composite bonding to finish them off? Is that what you kind of try and do normally? Not
really, because cost is always the issue with our patients. Even we're in a middle class area, but when in terms of cost, it really, people are more cost conscious now, I think. So you'll get maybe 5% of the patients that will go. I think by and large, most of the patients that come in, they just want maybe a few teeth done, or maybe 8 teeth at the most. But it's we don't have a great deal of competition because majority of dentists still do indirect work. So.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. And I'm gonna send you the link to our podcast if you want to send it around to your friends. That'd be great. And thanks so much. And you're really an inspiring dentist. And thanks for putting up all those cases you do and showing us younger people how to do it and the right way to do it. I think that's the most important thing. So thanks so much. And if you're ever in South Africa, come visit us in the Eastern Cape. It's a beautiful part.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Evert. Cool. All the best.
Cheers. See you, man.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.